Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It's me, Diamond Racing, back again. And today is my Qatar review and my driver rankings and my Qatar predictions. So yeah, this was a very exciting weekend. We had a split weekend once again. The first qualifying was quite a bit boring, but the second qualifier for the sprint race, that was much more interesting, with Piastri taking pole with Norris second. And then the sprint race, that was just amazing. Piastri getting his first win, even though it was a sprint. Max sealing the championship in a sprint race. And then the race itself, Hamilton and Russell colliding, Hamilton kicking himself in the nuts. Just actually quite an interesting race, but boring at times, if I can say it like that. But that's not why you are here. Let's go and rank the 20 drivers from 20th to 1st. Let's get it on the way. Last place is going to be Lance Stroll. Didn't have any good sessions except the race, the main race. I think it was good enough not to be last, but the rest of the weekend was just poor. Maybe it was the sprint race that wasn't that bad. I think the race, he got a lot of penalties. So yeah, not good. So yeah, that's why it's P20. I don't like the way he acted in after the qualifying in Q1. I think that's problematic. But anyway, P19 is going to be Zhao Guanyu. Now Zhao had a very poor weekend with the sprint qualifying and the qualifying itself. But in the race, he actually did very good. But the other three sessions really dismissed him in this ranking. Remember, I am using every single session except for practice to rank the drivers, so that's why Zhao is 19th. And yeah, just didn't have a good weekend overall. P18 is going to be Sergio Perez. Now Perez had also out in Q2 the sprint qualifying. I think it was like 6th or 8th, I can't remember. The sprint race itself wasn't very good also. And then the race yesterday, that was bad. He had 20 seconds of penalties because of track limits. His teammate didn't go over the line once. My facial expression tells you how much I feel about talking about this again. But anyway, that's all I can say. Perez just underperforming massively. P17 is going to be Logan Sargent. Now, I feel for him with the race not feeling good, trying his best, and you could hear the sadness in his voice, but that was actually his best performance over the whole weekend. These sprint qualifying and the sprint race wasn't good at all, spinning out and the sprint race, and I don't think he put a time on in one of the two qualifyings, so that's why it's P17. But I really felt the emotion when he talked with James Bauer over the radio. That's pretty sad things. Anyway, P16 is going to be Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen had quite a quiet race weekend. I'm still learning my English, but I think I'm getting there. But yeah, it was just quite a solid, not so solid actually, weekend. Was massively outperformed by his teammate. The race wasn't that bad, but that was only because his teammate had a 10-second penalty because of starting at the incorrect position. So otherwise, not as good as I remember, until I remember. So yeah, not a good weekend for Kevin Magnussen. P15 is going to be Esteban Ocon. Ocon had a very good race, but the rest of the weekend was really poor. Qualifying, he was out-qualified by his teammate. The sprint qualifying, he went to the top 3, but then he didn't make a lap because of track limits, and I punish drivers for not putting a lap on because of track limits. The sprint race, I think he was more at fault with the collision with Perez and Hulkenberg, so I punished him for that too. But the race he did actually very good, even though he said he didn't feel that good, and that's all I can say. He did good enough, but because of the other sessions, he only made it to P15 on my list. P14 is going to be Yuki Tsunoda. Okay, I'm just going to pause. Sorry for that, my dog barked and I had to let him get out of my room. So yeah, let's get on. I was at P14 Yuki Tsunoda. His qualifying was very good. The first qualifying, his second qualifying was very bad. His sprint race was decent. And then the race, he had pace to fight Albon, but at the end he didn't do. Excuse me, felt off drastically at the end. So yeah, that's why it's P14, a little bit lower than I expected him to be. But yeah, the rest of the people just had better weekends, in my opinion. A better weekend. P13 is going to be Lewis Hamilton. Got out qualified by his teammates in the first qualifying. He got out in Q2. Was that for... I think that was maybe for a sprint. Yeah, that was for a sprint, sorry. The sprint he got out in Q2. In the first qualifying he did good enough to be P3, but still a margin behind Russell. In the sprint race he did okay, I remember. Not as good as teammate, of course. And then the big thing happened in the race. At the first turn, he turned into his teammate, crashed with his teammate, and ruined both of their races. But he came worse for wear. So yeah, that's why he is P13. P12 is going to be Liam Lawson. Now, Liam Lawson didn't have a very good qualifying. I don't expect him to. With the track conditions that it is, I'm surprised he finished the race. The sprint qualifying, he did absolutely crazy. He was my driver for the sprint qualifying. He qualified in the Q2 with a big margin over Tsunoda. And even before Tsunoda got his time deleted, his time was still much quicker than Tsunoda's. I think that is why Lawson is in front of Tsunoda, is because of that one session. But then with the sprint race, he made a mistake and he DNF'd on lap 1, and that cost him. But the race itself wasn't that bad. I think it was just a race of attrition, and he didn't do that bad. So glad he didn't do that bad, because that was a really very tough race for the drivers. And yeah, I'm sad to see him not do the rest of the year, and I really hope he gets that Williams seat for next year. P11 is going to be Pierre Gasly. The qualifying was good, out qualifying his teammates. Then in the sprint qualifying, his teammate out qualified him, but then his teammate got track limits and didn't set up a time. In the sprint race, he actually did very good. I think he was much faster than his teammate in that sprint race. In the race itself, I think they were neck on neck. Sometimes I think Gasly would have been faster. Sometimes I think Ocon. There was a time where Alpine had a very slow pit stop, and then they came out neck on neck. At that time I believed, wow, if they just didn't do a slow stop, maybe he would be ahead. But then the track limits started to happen, and he really got punished for that, and on my ranking he did too. So that's why it's P11. I think P15 to P11 was very close. I think it's very close. So yeah, our top 10, our point scores is going to be P10 Carlos Sainz. Now he didn't race in the race itself, but I still count the other three sessions. So yeah, that's why he's still on the list. So all I do is I just extract him from the the race ranking. And yeah, his P10, he had his qualifying was that actually quite bad. But then in the sprint qualifying, he out-qualified Leclerc, and in the race, he out-raced Leclerc. It would have been cool to see how he would have It would have been cool to see how he would have done in the race itself, but sadly we would never know. P9 is going to be Fernando Alonso. Now Alonso had a up and down weekend. Qualifying really actually good before, then the sprint qualifying not as good. The sprint race I can't remember anything with. Oh yeah, he ended P8 when Leclerc got a penalty. He was P9, but he got 1 point from the whole thing. I forgot about that. And in the race, he made a mistake, went to the gravel trap, and that actually ruined his race quite a lot. But the people behind him couldn't catch up, and he couldn't catch up with the people in front. So that's why he's only P9. P8 is going to be Lando Norris. Now, Lando Norris had actually a quite mistake heavy race weekend. Qualifying, he would have been on pole, but he made a mistake. He finished behind his teammate in Q2. In Q1, he could have fought Verstappen for the pole, but then he made a mistake. In the sprint qualifying, he should have been in front of Piastri, but he made a mistake. That's just, I think that 2 sessions is why he's so low, because he made a lot of mistakes. And then the sprint race, he did good. Not as good as his teammate, because his teammate won. So yeah, and then he was actually one of my top 3 best drivers from the race, finishing 3rd when he started 10th. So that's pretty good. P7 is going to be Alex Albon. Now Albon had a decent weekend. Qualifying, Logan Sargent was very close, but the sprint qualifying was a lot better. But the car wasn't that fast. And then in the sprint race, he started P17 and finished 7th in a Williams in 17 or 18 laps. That's good. He was my driver of the sprint race. I think he deserved that. So yeah, that's why he's here. And in the race, he also had a few penalties and he fell down out of the points, but they had a decent race, so that's okay. P6 is going to be Charles Leclerc. Now Leclerc had actually a very good and decent weekend. Out-qualified Carlos by a large margin in the first qualifying, the sprint qualifying, or the sprint shootout. He was behind Carlos in the sprint race. He was behind Carlos, and then he had a penalty which dropped him out of the points. When I did my ranking, I did not know about that. I have heard about that afterwards. And then in the race, he was trying his best with the car he had, so understandable. And yeah, just a decent weekend. P5 is going to be Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg had a very good weekend. The qualifying was good. I think he was in the top 10 in the sprint qualifying, and almost it was in the Q2 in the normal qualifying. The sprint race was such a big disappointment for him. He could have gotten huge points, but then Ocon was just like, "Sacre bleu." I think that's French. Sorry, that was probably bad. I don't even know what that means. But anyway, let me know what that means. I'm afraid I just sweared or said something bad. But anyway, and in the race, he started quite good, but because Sainz was in front of him, he accidentally went into Carlos's space. And he got a 10-second penalty for that, and that cost his race mega, so what can you do? Anyway, P4 is going to be Valtteri Bottas. Bottas had actually a very good weekend throughout the whole weekend. His qualifying was mega. His teammate was 20th. He qualified in the top 10, I think like 9th or 7th, 8th. I can't remember at the top of my head. But that was very good. He was my driver of qualifying. The sprint qualifying was decent. The sprint race was decent. But in the race itself, he got points. In the Alfa Romeo, I think he finished 7th, 8th? I think 8th. That's good points for Alfa Romeo. So yeah, I should probably go through my things before I do this video. Anyway, P3, our podium positions is going to be Oscar Piastri. Now, Oscar Piastri is only third because you'll understand why now. In the qualifying, he was behind his teammate and his time also got deleted. The sprint qualifier was very good. I condemned him for that. I'm not sure that's the right word to use. But anyway, sprint race was mega. I think he was my top 3 for that race. And in my race itself, he was on my top 5. I think a few drivers had a better race than he had. So that's why it's P3. P2 and P3 are very close. But yeah, it's only P3 for me. I'm a very big fan of Oscar Piastri. I thought he was going to be P2, but the other driver in P2 surprised me a little bit more. P2, our silver medalist, is going to go to George Russell. Why did I choose George Russell on top of Piastri? I qualified Hamilton, I think both. I qualified Hamilton massively in the sprint qualifying. He had a very good race in the sprint race. And in the main race, he got hit by his teammate. He started from last and he went back to a very good P4 finish. It was P4, P5. I should really go check before making a video. But it was very good. I think the only thing that nothing counted against Russell, but I think he would have finished probably 3rd, maybe again 4th, if he didn't got hit by his teammate. So yeah. MP1, the 3-time world champion, Max Verstappen himself, just a very good weekend. I'm surprised that he didn't dominate as much as I think he would. Didn't win the sprint race, didn't get the sprint shootout, whatever, pole, and then he finished the 4.7 seconds ahead of Piastri. That's not that big, but it was a very controlled race. Verstappen was definitely my driver of the race. Didn't go over the line once, so track limits, he doesn't have to worry about that. So that is my ranking. If you don't agree, let me know what you would change. And yeah, let's go quickly over my F1 fantasy. If you want to skip this one, you can go to my predictions. This was actually not a bad weekend. I got a lot of points, but yeah, Perez got me -3, Leclerc got me 22. The Sainz one is such a bull story because he was my multiplier by 2 and he was -28. If I knew, because that's how it works, I know, but yeah, I got a lot of points that went away from that one. Albon gave me 23, Norris 41, Aston Martin 47, at Mclaren 110. So it was actually a good weekend for me. My quartile predictions went as followed. My good driver was AlphaTauri. They did not have a good drive. Bad driver Stroll. He did have a bad drive. My pole was Verstappen. Correct. My sprint pole was Verstappen. Was not correct. My sprint win was Verstappen. Not correct. My top 5 was Sainz, Hamilton, Alonso, Perez, Verstappen. I only got Verstappen correct. 2 of those drivers didn't even finish, so yeah. And then my wild prediction was both Alfa Romeos out in Q1, and they surprised me with giving Bottas a Q3 appearance. How bad can it get, man? And I got 3 out of 10. But hopefully my next weekend will be better, like I always say. My Coda predictions is going to be my good drive, Leclerc. I think Leclerc will have a much better weekend than he had in previous weekends. My bad drive, I think Alpine will have a bad car. Well, not a bad car. I think they will not be performing as well as they should, maybe. My pole is going to be Science. Now, my pole for Science is because he got pole here last year, and maybe the Ferrari will be quick. Maybe Red Bull and yeah. Sorry, that's my Afrikaans. My camera just quit on me. But anyway, my bad drive Alpine, like I said, I don't think they would do as good as they should. I was already at pole for Science, sorry. I think Science will have pole because it's a good track for Science and he got pole there last year. So maybe that is something to look out for. That's just my prediction, so yeah. My sprint shootout winner is going to be Russell. I think Russell has a good chance to get pole here, so that's why he's there. My sprint winner though is going to be Verstappen. I think Verstappen is going to win the race. Yeah. My top 5 is as follows: P5 Hamilton, P4 Leclerc, P3 Alonso, P2 Verstappen, and P1 Norris. I think Norris could get his first win at Kota because the McLaren looks very good, and I believe if if he gets a nice start, maybe he could get Verstappen, and who knows, maybe Norris can get his first win here. And my wild prediction is Yuki to get into Q3. And that is that, my people. I don't know. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you like more of these videos, my reviews, my rankings. Please let me know, and please subscribe. It really helps out, and I will be posting more videos. There is a video in the works. What if there was 3 drivers per team? And yeah, I think that would be starting one. How would the driver lineup be? So if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I will really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Cheers.